Do you have a health message and you desire this message to go to the world? Because you know that the message that you have as a health educator can transform lives and for many actually save potentially their lives. And you found that so many people are talking about content. If you're not creating content, then you don't exist online and you're not really serious about your business. Or if you see that there's a great opportunity of this online like gold rush to be able to monetize your health knowledge online or to be able to bring more high paying clients to your business, and you see that content is a part of it, but you haven't been as consistent as you'd like to be. And you see that there's a gap between where you are and where you want to be when it comes to creating content consistently, then this video is for you, because today we're going to be talking about why health educators struggle creating content consistently and what you can do to overcome this. So there's seven secrets that I would share for how to become a consistent with content. And in fact, there's 7 mistakes, if you will, that these mistakes are commonly made that keeps health educators from being consistent in their mission, their message, and being able to publish that to the people that you're called to serve. The first biggest mistake is a mindset, is really not asking the question, why do you desire to create content? Because really, it's not a matter of the tactics and the technical. We get so caught up in this tyranny of how, and we're like, well, how do I go live? Or how do I publish? How do I know what to say? And we get caught up in all this like how, and we get overwhelmed by the process, when instead what's 80% of our success in all fields, including consistent content, is reasons. It's why to is 80%, how to is only 20%. Give you an example. When let's talk about weight loss. If how to was all that we really needed, then everybody would be feeling fit and fabulous and being great, because everybody knows how to lose weight is to exercise more and have good nutrition. But not everybody does it. Why? Because there's reasons we don't exercise, reasons we eat the junk food instead of the health food, and same with content, where there are reasons that reap results. And if we don't have strong enough reasons, we won't be able to reach our goal, because the higher your why, the higher you'll fly when it comes to creating content consistently. And I remember there was a time that I didn't understand how to create the content, and I wasn't as consistent as I'd like to be. And about 12 years ago, I started creating content. But what I did is I invested in people who did create content, and I invested in an event. I went over to San Diego at this influencer summit hosted by Brendon Burchard, and every one of the speakers there's about 300 people in the audience, and each speaker is making about $1 million a year. And as an author, as a podcast host, as a coach, as a content creator, course creator, membership sales, they sold membership sites. On all these different ways, they're monetizing their knowledge, and that's what they're teaching of how to do. And it blew my mind. I'm like, there's 300 plus people who are all pursuing this, monetizing their knowledge online. They're impacting the world, and many of them are full-time. And I'm like, this is so cool. And what I've realized is that we want to surround ourselves, put ourselves in environments that normalizes the achievements that we desire. So I invested in this program when I didn't have the money and I couldn't afford it, but I knew that in order to get from where I am to where I wanted to be, I needed a mentor, a guide that can help me to show me the path. Like, I'm willing to do the work. I just want to know what the steps are. And little did I know that it's really some of the mindset is one of the greatest things I got from the event, is a belief that it's possible. I remember there was a speaker there, I think it was Anthony Trucks. He was saying that he's really well known for his content that gets millions of views, and he showed different millions of views videos and how he was able to publish. And he said that many people recognize him because of these successes and these successful viral videos. But what most people don't realize is that before any video took off, he had recorded, he was recording videos consistently, and many of them flopped. And at the time, he said, I recorded a new video every day for 3,000 days. And a lot of people didn't realize the work I was doing in the dark. They only remember me for the viral videos, the work that gets shown in the light. And he was saying that if I didn't record those other videos, I would have never reached those tipping points in my career, in my business, in my brand. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And he finished by saying, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. And many people are not willing to be bad long enough for them to eventually get good. And this really hit me, and I was like, wow, this is quite the perspective. I'm like, well, I'm willing to put in 3,000 videos. And at first I was just thinking like, well, if the first video didn't get too well, and then Brendon Burchard got on stage and he talked about how people would look at their 100 views and like, oh, only 100 people watch my videos. He's like, are you kidding me? That's 100 people who dedicated their life, their time, their attention, and they actually cared enough to watch what you had to say. Like, feel honored, feel blessed, feel amazing that 100 people are able to watch your views. And rather than comparing to those people with millions or hundreds of thousands of views, it's like, by being faithful with the little views, it's how we're able to be faithful with greater views. And that was a big mindset shift for me too. And I was like, well, I asked myself, if I would I be willing to have this conversation that I'm having on a video with 100 people at a live audience? Surely that would be great. If I were willing to have this conversation with 50 people in a live audience, yeah, then why not have the conversation on video to publish for other people? I'm like, that makes sense. So a lot of times, like, I just did a challenge, and Dr. Kendra Lee, she wasn't really posting consistently, but I encouraged her to share. And when she shared her video the next day, she's like, I got 70 views. I'm like, isn't that amazing? Imagine 70 people in an audience, in a room, and you sharing your story. She's like, that would be great. And then like a few days later, she's got over 700 views. And it's just like 10x the growth. And the reality is that, like, imagine 700 people in a room. That would be a large event. And so that's what we get to do with the power of the internet and our phone. We could just literally go live. The first live video that I ever shared on Facebook, I was in a parking lot and I was sharing the story from my heart, and I got like 3,000 views for it. And I'm like, wow, I could just pull out, go live, and reach 3,000 people in my pocket. That's amazing. And so the mindset, I believe, is a very important component where you got to get clear on, why do you want to record videos? Why is it important for you to do that? And when you can answer these reasons, when you can even have strong reasons like, okay, my goal is not to have the first 5 videos go viral. I'm going to commit to 3,000 videos over the course of my career. And if I goof or mess up, or if it's not as perfect as I'd like to, then I'll be like, well, this is just 1 out of 3,000. And that this is 1 out of 3,000 mindset has really helped me tremendously to persevere through the transition and start being more consistent. So that's number 1, is mindset. Number 2 is the next biggest mistake is not knowing your markets. This is, who is your target audience? Another reason what keeps people stuck is that they think like, well, I ask like, who do you help? And they're like, oh, I help people. It's like, well, people isn't really a target audience. Like, who's your ideal client? Well, just people who are sick, who have health challenges, who've got issues. I'm like, that's not really specific enough, because online, we're living in this information age where there's information on all sorts of stuff. People want specialized knowledge. People want specialized solutions. They want people who they feel can understand them. So it's the way that you speak to a stay-at-home mom with health challenges is different than how you speak to an ultra-marathon runner who does this for a living about his health challenge. It's not the same conversation. So the reality is, anything that is for everyone is also for no one. You have to pick a profitable person that you're going to present to, that you're going to publish. Like, I like to tell people when I'm coaching health educators and helping them to identify their niche and really narrow their niche, because the reality is the riches is in the niches. And I share with them, like, imagine you're talking to one person. Instead of saying, hey, everybody, I'm going to be talking to you about, and just say like, hey, I want you, like, use the second person language. if you are struggling to create content, if you are having a hard time with your weight, if you've ever wondered how to keep the weight, to lose the weight and keep it off, then this video is for you. Just like imagine you're speaking to one person. What I do is we go into depth, and in fact I'm in the middle of this implementation workshop where I have my highest paying health educators, our clients, where we're helping them to like craft their niche, identify their signature offer, their signature message. And one of the things that we're doing is really getting clear on who are you serving and how are you going to help them. Because without that knowledge, then you're just speaking to the air. So it's going to be important that you speak to an individual. We map out a customer profile of who is your ideal client. And then imagine you're having a one-on-one conversation with one person, not a group, but one individual. And that one person represents a group of people, and they will resonate with that. And when you feel like you're talking to a friend, then it's easy. It's not stressful. A lot of the pressure is lifted. You're like, well, I'm just having a conversation with my buddy. My ideal client is like, a lot of times it's like you 5 years ago or a younger version of you and you're inexperienced. So that can make a big difference. And really values in the eye of the beholder. So who you pick determines more of, like, your message determines your audience. So how you speak is going to attract different people. I'll give you an example. There was a time that I was just hanging out with a lot of loggers. We're backwoods, outdoors, builders, just people who worked a lot with their hands. And while I was doing this, imagine if I were going to record a video about how to create content consistently. You think my logger buddies would be like, oh yeah, I want that? Probably not. Let's say I was going to say that, hey, I've got a program that I'm going to teach you how to craft a signature speech, how you can create content that converts, to monetize your knowledge online, and to be able to speak from stage. And when you speak from stage, you can get paid $5,000, $8,000, $20,000 because of one speaking engagement. Does that sound like a plan? And it's like my logger friends would be like, yeah, no. Or they're like, that's not for me. Because they're not thinking about making money with their mind or their mouth. They're making money with their muscles. And that's a totally different market. But now if I talk to health educators, I said, hey, how would you like to craft a signature speech where I'm going to help you to understand how to convey your premium offers and to be able to share with others? Then people are willing to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for that workshop. So your message determines your audience, and it's going to be really important to know that. Here's an example of some of our accelerator students. Shantoya, she was, her and her husband, they've been international wellness speakers, and we helped them to identify the problem that they're solving. And they were existing authors before. We helped to launch them to #1 best-selling. Now they're best-selling authors, and we got really clear on their ideal client. And they found out that the people that they can help the most are mostly like women over 40 with high blood pressure and professional women over 40 who have the money to be able to pay for it. So and then she got on one of our coaching calls, and Shantoya was like, brother, this is so amazing. After you helped us to get clear on our ideal client, we're starting to see professional women over 40 with high blood pressure coming out of the woodwork. And she's like, we're getting phone calls about it, consultations, we're getting messages that are coming out, like they're coming out of like thin air. It's like we never got so many in the past, but now that we're clear on our ideal client, what a lot of people fear is that by picking a profitable niche, they're going to isolate a bunch of people and they're going to have less reach. But the truth couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is the biggest mistake you can make, one of the biggest mistakes, is not picking your market and scattering yourself too thin, because if you can't call out your ideal client, then they can't identify that your program is for them. So once we helped the Stewart family to do this, then they actually were able to raise their prices, and they sold more than ever before. And from our speaker training, Alpha went on to have the most profitable event he's ever had in the last 12 years of being a health educator. So that's the type of stuff that happens when we're coaching people through this process. Truly, the second biggest mistake that many people make is not knowing who their target audience is. What about the third mistake? The third one is medium. So in other words, like, what platform will you publish on? by not picking a profitable platform, not picking where you're going to communicate, if you're focused too much on all the different places, it's hard for you to understand. What I would see is, like, I know Gary Vee talks about, like, you can have 80% of your content on this platform, 20% kind of dabbling, experimenting, looking at new media and new attention where that's at. But, like, pick a platform, get to know it well, publish on that, be consistent. And if you're constantly watching videos of, like, this is how to publish on TikTok, this is how to grow on Instagram, this is how to grow on Facebook, this is YouTube's the best thing since sliced bread. If you're, like, really confusing yourself with all of the different messaging, it makes it really confusing, because a confused mind is a paralyzed mind. Confused mind always says no, and complexity is the enemy of execution. So you want simplicity scales and complexity fails. So by simplifying what platform you're going to learn, then you can put the blinders on and not stop listening to all these people are saying, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way, and get that shiny object syndrome that really divides your focus. Just pick a platform. Really, many of them work. A lot of people are like, oh, that's the old way, that doesn't work anymore. The reality is, old marketing methods still work, and the principles are still parents. There's just different rules. Learn the rules of the platform and align with them, and you'll be able to see more growth through there. And especially when you're getting started, to learning this process, it's like everything in content creation is a muscle that you can strengthen or develop. And the more reps that you get, the stronger you get. So really, in the beginning, if you're struggling to be consistent, your focus is less about reaching the masses. Your focus is more about getting the reps in to build the muscles, to get familiar with the platform, the process, the presentations, and it's just by getting comfortable on camera, learning how to present, how to create content. Just focus on the incremental improvements over time. A lot of people, they struggle to get started because they feel like they gotta start at the top of the mountain before they took their first step. It's like, it doesn't work. You can't rush the wash machine. The wash machine needs to go through all of its cycles of clean, right? Well, you could rush the wash machine, but what would happen? Your clothes would still be dirty. Everybody starts with 1 subscriber. Everybody starts with not knowing how to publish a video. It's normal. It's not a personal problem. It's a people problem. These are the problems that we get to solve. And it's the same journey that we all go on, and that's okay. So the third step, the third secret is the medium. Pick your medium and choose what platform are you going to publish on. The fourth biggest mistake is not really having a standardized modality. And what do I mean by modality? What format are you going to be presenting? So a format would be like question and answers. Sometimes you could do a podcast where you interview experts. That's a format. You can do a consultation call show where you actually take the consultations you already have, and as people are asking you questions, you're able to get permission to record that. I got started doing that. People would watch my content, they would like it, and I say, hey, would you like to get on video with me and we can go into deeper in depth on this content? People would say yes, yes, yes. So then I'd record these calls with their permission and then publish them. And I remember there was a guy who saw my videos, and he had over 330,000 subscribers. He's like, brilliant, I love the teachings of this young lad. I was like 19 at the time. That was, 10 years ago. And I was like, well, if you like my teachings, would you be willing to feature my channel on your channel? He was a subscriber of mine. And I probably had about like 1,500 subscribers at the time on YouTube. And he said, I'll do even more. How about we get on a call and we do a video, and I'll tell all my subscribers to subscribe to you. I'm like, awesome. Like, can someone say #overdeliver? That's exciting. I'll sign up for that. So I got we were using Skype at the time. That was like before Zoom. And he asked me a series of questions, and I just was able to answer them very well. And God gave me the words to say. He's like, well, there you have it, friends. Like subscribe to this young man. I've been watching his videos. They're super powerful. And like that day, I got hundreds of subscribers as he released that video. The next day I got a little bit less, but it was still hundreds of subscribers. And each day it trickled a little bit more, but I realized the power of creating content on other people's platforms, other people's audiences is where I've seen some of the greatest growth financially, subscriber-wise, view-wise, reach. And so that's why I'm such a fan a believer in the power of other people's platforms. So, but like, what modality will you use? Like right now, the format is I'm speaking direct to camera with slides. If you're afraid to show your face at the beginning and that kind of freaks you out, you can just use slides and voiceover. You can go to canva.com and Canva will allow you to record your voice. You can turn off your camera and just record your screen and your voice, and you could show slides. There's faceless videos that get hundreds of thousands of subscribers and make tens of thousands of dollars a month, and that's a viable option. So you can be a reporter. Some of the formats that you do is there's a variety of different formats that you can do. So you want to pick what modality, what format will you be presenting, and pick that and stick with it. Other people, they like drawing on the whiteboard. When you draw on the whiteboard, that's very low prep to do, and you could just draw as you describe. I know Barbara O'Neill's, she does a lot of whiteboard drawings, and those videos get hundreds of thousands of views. She's teaching about health stuff. So pick a format that you like, and then publish that. Pick one platform, like one person, one platform, one format, and then that will really simplify the consistency part. If you're trying so many different formats, it stresses you out, but just pick a format, get really good at that one, and then move on to other formats and experiment. But you don't have to do all of them at once. So the fourth mistake, fourth secret is picking modality. And actually, another example that I'll give you is, here's a guy who is in the health coaching niche, and he published on YouTube, and he's doing like this podcast. It's very simple. And he's in this group that we're a part of, and this marketing group, and he's in the health coaching niche. And he had mentioned that he published this video. He's like, content is amazing. He's literally just having conversations with people in his niche. And it's like, look, he's got bad lighting, he's got a bad camera, he's got only 100, he's got less than 160 views. And from this video, he booked 20 calls. And out of those, 9 people signed up to a $6,000 coaching program, and he made $48,000 in 1 week from just posting. Like, the reality is, people are looking for you. There's already hundreds of thousands of people who desire to pay you. A lot of people, they come to me and they're like, Enoch, how do I find people to sell my stuff to? And I tell them, you don't find people to sell your stuff to. You make yourself findable to those who already want to buy what you already desire to sell. The problem is they don't know that you exist. Your ideal clients are looking for your message online. They're searching YouTube, they're searching Google, they're searching social media, and they're looking for solutions. They have cash in hand, ready to pay whatever you charge, but they don't know that you exist. So by publishing content, it's like, in the beginning, the objective is not so much let go of the perfectionism that everything has to be perfect. At the beginning, barely anyone's going to be watching your videos. You're publishing more for you than you are for them. But by publishing and going through the process, you're going through the wash of those cycles. You're cleansing your mind, cleansing the bad habits, cleansing the mindset, and you're developing the skills to become the person who can have your $48,000 week. You can sell more of your programs, but it's by learning how to just do it. It's not as much about how you record. In the beginning, it's more that you record. And the key is, when you record, you will see results. You'll see them and start being grateful for those. So one thing that I teach my clients is that you can actually turn your existing conversations into high converting content. And this allows you to earn while you learn. And that's exactly what this man did. And he had his $48,000 week because he's taking conversations he's already having with people in his niche or ideal clients, publishing them online, and then just making an offer, a call to action to go book a clarity call, and it's working really well. So the fifth thing that I realize a big mistake is that not getting clear on the message and not being sure, like not asking the question, what source will you research or learn from? Some of the reasons why people don't create consistently because they're like, I don't know what to say, or how do I not run out of things to say? And if you're struggling, if you're thinking that you're going to run out of things to say, it's because you're not learning enough. You're not reading enough books, you're not watching enough videos, you're not listening to enough podcasts, you're not investing in coaching or attending health events in your niche industry events. So the key is, like, what I realize is a lot of people in the book Atomic Habits, it talks about these two types of goals. Most people create these outcome goals, and they want, like, maybe creating content might be an outcome for you, and recording a video might be an outcome, but that is not so much it's going to be hard to reach that goal if your goal is to record videos, or if your goal is views. Like, views is also an outcome, comments is an outcome, clients is an outcome. Rather than focusing so much on that outcome, focus on the process. Understand process goals and the process that produces the outcome. So it's the inputs that determine the outputs. So you have output goals, you have input goals. So what is the input to that output of creating content consistently is when we input in our minds topics. Like, let's say I'm coaching people about telomere science, or no, let's say that it's on weight loss and nutritional cleansing. So what I need to do is start learning about nutrition, watch videos on nutrition, listen to stories of people who lose weight through nutritional cleansing, learn about intermittent fasting, understand about how people are speaking about this. If I got a detox program, I want to create content about cleansing, go listen to content about cleansing. Go listen to content about detoxes, about juicing, or about nutrition, and find out. And by listening to these creators, or like understanding content, a lot of times they're like doing research on the topic, becoming a researcher on that, or becoming very interested in that, just taking subjects that I enjoy. And as I feed my mind, Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. We'll never run out of content, and I'm not talking about just stealing other people's content. I'm talking about when you feed your mind, and you could actually curate ideas. You can bring information from here and there and apply them together and put them in a different sequence. And people value that. There's a lot of value in curation. Sometimes people have a hard time seeing themselves as a content creator, and that may be because you're more of a content curator. And there's value in curating ideas and principles about cleansing and detox, and as you put them in a different sequence, then you're able to share. And even now as I talk, like, I curated some ideas from Anthony Trucks. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. I curated some ideas from Brendon Burchard, my own experience. It's not just quoting what other people say, it's sharing your experience, your story, your testimony with that. What was the experience before? What was the epiphany you had? And then how did it impact your life? And then you make the content more personal and you share. But the key is you want to create triggers where you're listening to content, and you want to be very intentional with the content you listen to. In my Direction from God program, I have this course that teaches people how to have intentional devotions when they're studying the Bible. I believe that there's 3 core elements that I cover here, and I believe it applies to all areas of life. Is number 1, you want to have deliberate discoveries. You want to be deliberate with what you discover. Daily discover new things, new learnings, I like to call it. Discover new ideas about your industry. Have new discoveries about weight loss, about detoxing, about muscle. Like, if you're helping as a fitness trainer, then find out new forms and find out new workouts, and just be deliberate in what you discover, because usually we learn things anyways, but instead of just going to YouTube and then clicking whatever might, like clickbait catches your attention, be deliberate. Like, hey, this is a problem that my clients have. This is a problem my audience has. This is a problem I have, and be deliberate with your discoveries. And number 2 is document your discoveries. When you take notes on what you learn, this allows you to take like teachable notes, and don't only take note of don't just write down what they say, write down what you thought of as a result of what they said. That's where the gold is. So you can be creative with your notes. And but document your discoveries. As you document, then this is how you're able to communicate to more people, and it makes a big difference. So the third is discuss your discoveries. This is where you're able to grab your camera, go live, and say, hey, this is something I've been learning, and you're able to document your journey. And by sharing these updates and saying, wow, this is an epiphany I just learned. This is a goal that I have. This is what I'm doing to solve it. These were the results. People love that stuff. They will follow it. I have a client right now who I shared this principle with, and she's like, I'm going to go on this juicing cleanse program because she has this juicing program. I'm going to juice. I'm going to be a product of my product, and I'm going to document my journey along the way. And so she's been going live, and she literally has people, she's like, who are telling her in the comments, do not stop posting your journey. I'm loving this. It's making sense. You're inspiring me. You're helping me. And she's someone who's going through our workshop this week. And so discuss your discoveries. Don't just hide it, your light. Let your light shine. I always tell my clients, like, one of the reasons why I was able to learn so much so quickly as I started my public speaking career when I was 17 and started traveling around the nation as a professional speaker since then, is because my goal is always like, how could I shorten the distance between the time that I learn something to the time that I share it? And my goal is like, I realized that the best way to learn is to teach. Jim Quick, who's my brain coach, he's a world-renowned brain coach, and he coaches a lot of high performers like Usher, President Obama, myself, and other entrepreneurs. And by one of the principles that I learned from him is, for a principle of memory, is to teach it. And when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. And by that expression, it deepens the impression. So if you want to get good at your topic, then not only do you have to be deliberate with your discoveries, not only do you have to document your discoveries, but you have to discuss your discoveries. Discuss them in coaching programs, discuss them at events, discuss them on podcasts, and discuss them on video, discuss them on writing when you're writing a book. Like, learn to discuss your discoveries. Don't just keep them to yourself. And I realized by teaching, sometimes in the beginning you might teach, like one of the first times I went on a speaking tour, I was 19, and I was speaking in California at this place, at this event. I was doing these health lectures and cooking classes, and some of the things that I was sharing was like, I was a teenager and I traveled across for state to go share to this audience, and they were looking at me, they're like, wow, you know so much. And I told them, like, I'm not here because I know everything. I'm here because I want to learn just like you. And I'm sharing what I know. You can share some principles that you know. And some of those things, like, I talked for like 60 minutes, but if they were to ask me to talk for another 15 minutes on that particular topic, I couldn't. Like, that was all that I knew. But the reality is, like, what you know is always more than enough. It was enough to change their life, to impact them, and to build relationships, to transform people's lives. You don't have to know everything to share anything. When you share what you know grows. And I like how Andy Stanley from the Leadership Podcast, he shared that you don't know how much you know until you share with someone who doesn't know what you know. And if you know fourth grade math, you can teach third graders how to do third grade math. Like, it's not rocket science, and God's not asking you to share anything you don't know. Just share your experience. What has helped you? What have you learned and discovered? And this is totally okay. People, I'm sure, like let me know. Type value in the chat if you're finding value so far of what I've been covering in this video, because a lot of what I'm saying is one, I was deliberate with my discoveries. I'm documenting what I learned in my discoveries, and I'm discussing them with you. And this is my experience. These are some things that I've curated, lessons or concepts that have helped. Some things that I've experienced. Some I've paid the price financially. Others I've went through some pain to learn these lessons. But I'm letting you know these things, and that's where value is created. So you want to have triggers for when you're going to input good stuff so you can output a good message. And then the sixth is you want to measure. Another big mistake that health educators make is they don't measure their content. So you want to ask the question, how frequently will you record? I liked how Brendon Burchard recommended you want to have at least a weekly content rhythm. Create your content rhythm. And by having, like, I committed to publishing at least once a week for like the last 12 years. And it's been one of the best decisions that I made. So like for me, my content schedule is, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to go live. That's what I'm doing right now. So every Tuesday, I've been publishing live consistently for years. And like, I treat it like a doctor's appointment. I'm not going to just have one long form video, and I'm not going to schedule other things around it. I'll make sure that that is there. It's a big rock in my calendar. And then for you, you might want to think, well, in order for you to go live consistently, it helps to like batch your content. So what I do is I have days where I actually batch the content, like say on Sunday. And like if you look at your like cooking, let's say you're gonna make some cookies. Are you gonna like put one dollop of cookie dough on the sheet and put it in the oven for however many minutes and then do it again 30 times? No, you're gonna put rows of cookie dough so that you have the ability to batch your cookies. Like, that would be ridiculous if you thought about doing baking one cookie at a time, right? But we do this when we're creating content. Why would we do that? So instead, when I learned about like super batching, this was amazing, because what you can do is you can actually, like let's say you can take Thursday to outline your content, where you could, or like let's say Sunday is a day that we might get together and for like an hour or two, we can plan out what kind of videos I'm going to record for the next 3 months. And so now I've got a quarter of content that's all decided, and we put dates on it. And then now I've got some ideas, at least topics to cover. Then on Thursday, we might like outline it and study, or like put together just some teaching points, some basic principles, maybe some slides, and then being able to create the outline all at once, where I don't have to do it every day. It's not like Sunday I'm creating for Tuesday. So that what this does is you're never wondering, what am I going to teach? What am I going to teach next? You're able to actually know with certainty what you're going to say and when you're going to say it. And it really simplifies the process. You might want to involve your family. You might want to involve some friends or team, or maybe other people who also are content creators, and say, hey, let's create some content ideas together. And if you get together, batching is something that's good to do as a group. So that's a powerful tool for being consistent. And that will help you, again, like coming up with content ideas would be like an input goal, and the output goal would be actually recording it. So in our workshop today, or yesterday, one of the things happened was that we helped our clients to be able to map out, like Sherry, she's helping people with fibromyalgia, and she was able to map out her content. Today is October, and she's got her content scheduled out until May of next year. Like, how awesome is that? Now she's like, there's no way that I'm gonna not create content, because there's so much clarity and massive like understanding of what to say and where to go. And now she's able to chip away at, then she started batching some of her outlines, and then she's like now knows what she's going to be teaching, so she could be deliberate with her discoveries and feed her mind with new learnings on the topic she already plans on communicating on. That right there is some secret sauce I just gave you, and some of you are going to do some great things with that. So the 6th is measure how frequently will you record content. The 7th is map. This is where you want to map out your content. Create a content calendar. This is where a framework that's super powerful is hook, story, offer. And you want to have a hook that captures people's attention. And that could be the title, it could be the thumbnail for your video, it could be the first 3 seconds in your video. You see this video started with, are you a health educator who has a message you want to get to the world, but you're not creating content as consistently as you'd like to be? That's part of the hook. And the story is these 7 secrets, or these 7 mistakes that health educators make. So now I have some sort of structure to my framework. And then offer, I'm going to invite you to take a look at how you can take the next step and see if you like this, what you can do. So just always follow this framework whenever you're creating content. Just have a hook, story, offer. So it's like, what do we need to create content? Well, do I have a hook? Okay. Do I have an offer? Do I have a story? Yep. And then an offer ready to record. That's all I need. I don't need a whiteboard. I don't need slides. I don't need a fancy camera. I don't need a fancy studio. All I need is a hook, story, offer, and I'm ready to test and go reach and go bless the world. So here's an example. This is one thing that we do with our clients is we help them to map out your content calendar. And when I'm coaching health educators, we show them the principles that you see, like what this looks like is we have a column that talks about a hook formula, and then the hook, like one of the hook is, the first one is why diets don't work and what to do instead. So that's an example. What's really powerful is in marketing, there are formulas, and marketing is very formulaic. So the hook formula is like why common behavior or like common solution in your industry don't work and what to do instead. So our clients aren't thinking about, well, what do I do next? They could just say like why juicing doesn't work and what to do instead. Why fast, like why, like whatever people are doing, whatever your competitors are doing, you'd say why that doesn't work and what to do instead. And it's a hook. They're like, wait, I thought that thing does work. It's a common solution that most people do to try to get this result. Nope. And so you can hook people's attention. So the other one's like 3 reasons why we feel old and why we don't have to. So today I kind of use that hook. It's like 3 reasons why undesired outcome and why we don't have to. This video is like why health educators struggle making content and what to do instead and why you don't have to. So that's similar. And then there's another one like what to do if you're fat, sick, and nearly dead, or what to do if you're struggling to create content consistently, what to do if you are struggling to lose weight, what to do if, and then you can insert whatever the relatable, painful experience is. So we give a database of hooks and formulas so they could plug and play a variety of different things on that fit on a variety of different topics. So that's a really powerful resource. And then we give them some ideas as far as a story. And we have a column for stories, like 3 teaching points, what they could say. That's like the message, like what you're gonna say. We can provide some slides and we show them. These are just examples of what that looks like. And you're able to insert your own slides, your own topics, your own things. But what's really powerful is by mapping out your content calendar, you have no question of what am I going to say? Oh, it's Tuesday, it's time to record, but I'm not ready. And you can even batch record your videos. I don't do a lot of batch recording unless I'm doing a workshop. I like to do batch recording live, so I'll host a workshop and record sections, and so I could practice the content that way. And that works really well. And as you map out your content calendar, if you want my, this is what I call my converting content cycle. This is what helps you to create consistent content. This is what helps me to make profitable content. This is one of the ways you can make big money with a small audience online. You don't need to have tons of followers in order to make like lots of money. And it really starts by having a framework. So number 1, you start with the content. Create based on your understanding and then engage with people. They're going to leave comments. They're going to say, don't stop recording. I'm following your journey and loving it. Or they're going to comment and say, wow, that was powerful. And so what that does is it goes into conversations. Then while I did that, it went to having conversations, and I'd say, hey, how would you like to hop on a call and we can discuss it further, or start consultations, or you can say like let's join. Maybe it's a webinar call, or maybe it's a consultation call, or maybe it's just a clarity call, a strategy session that you're able to make sense of their situation, get more clarity. And people like that. And on these calls, you can make offers and let them have opportunity to work with you, and whatever concerns they have for moving forward, whatever concerns that they express that prevents them from accepting your offer, you're able to take those concerns, those buying objections, and turn them into content. You're able to address those. So you have this virtuous cycle of value that's able to create high converting content. So if you like this video and you want to learn how to understand, get a grip of more of this marketing, in my book on high ticket health coaching, I talk about how marketing is bringing your health message to the masses. That's really what it is at the end of the day. And if you want to grab a copy, I'm willing to send you a free copy. I'll cover the book if you cover the cost of shipping. And just go to highincomehealthexpert.com/book or comment the word book below, and I'll be happy to share with you how you too can dive deeper into your content. I'm going to share strategies of what you could say, how we go into more detail on hook story offer, on some of these other, like how to make big money with a small audience online. And if any of this sound of interest to you, then I think this book would be a fantastic place for many of you to dig deeper into this area. But until then, remember, subscribe, like, follow for more tips like this, and let me know in the comments, what is your greatest challenge you face with creating consistent content? Because we might be able to create a video that could add some value and help support. But remember, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called.